y'all, this is Brenda with Blessings and Bread. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I am making cornbread from scratch. I know it's very convenient to buy those packages of cornbread mix in the grocery store, and it makes it up really quick, and I use those often as well. But it's always good to know how to make cornbread from scratch. I live quite a ways from a regular grocery store, and I can't always have a package of cornbread mix. So I'm going to show you today how to make cornbread from scratch. I think one of the things that makes cornbread, or can make scratch cornbread the best, is when you cook it in a cast iron. And I love to cook it in my cast iron skillet. The skillet really needs to be hot when you put your cornbread into the pan so that it won't stick. And I'm going to just put a little bit of oil in the bottom of this pan, and then I'm going to go ahead and set this on the stove. And while I'm mixing my cornbread, now I'm just rolling that around so that that oil gets all over the pan. And then I'm going to put it on the stove and let it heat slowly while I'm mixing my cornbread. And by the time I get my cornbread mixed, the pan will be just ready to go and hot enough that it will just sizzle when I put that cornbread into the pan and keep it from sticking to the pan. I'm also going to be cooking the cornbread at a very high heat. You set your oven for 425 degrees Fahrenheit, so you cook it quick. It's called a quick bread, and instead versus a bread that takes a long time to make, like yeast bread, cornbread will fall into that category called a quick bread. So I'm going to get this on the stove, and then we'll get busy mixing up the batter. So that's going to heat while we're mixing our cornbread. So we're going to start today, and I use yellow cornmeal, but you can use yellow or white cornmeal, but I like the yellow cornmeal, and so I'm using a cup of cornmeal. And then I'm also using a cup of all-purpose flour. Next, we're going to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And I prefer savory cornbread. This recipe calls for 2 to 4 tablespoons of sugar, so I'm just using 2 because I'm more of a savory girl. I would like to know in the comments whether you prefer sweet cornbread or savory cornbread. I'm a savory girl. I want it savory. I can just make a meal out of cornbread all by itself, and I love to eat it with pinto beans or purple whole peas. Stew. If I have stew, I want cornbread. My husband is just happy with crackers, but if I'm having a stew, I want some cornbread to go with it. All right, one more dry ingredient, and that's salt, and it calls for a half a teaspoon of salt. Cornbread is super easy to make. It doesn't take long, and it is a southern thing, though. I'd be curious to know how many people up north actually eat cornbread on a regular basis, because we really eat cornbread pretty regularly here in Texas, or at least our family does. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to mix my egg and milk together. So I'm going to crack this egg and just put it in this little bowl, have baking powder in it, and I'm just going to kind of break it up a little bit. I'm not beating it necessarily, but I do want to mix it together and get the egg, the yolk and the white kind of mixed together. And then I'm just going to add it to my 1 cup of milk. Kind of mix that together just a little bit. And now I'm going to add the wet ingredients, or the milk, to the dry ingredients here, and just stir those together. And then another liquid that goes in is 1/4 of a cup of vegetable oil or canola oil. You could use avocado oil. It seems like the new thing now is avocado oil. It might be they've decided healthier for us. All right, and that's cornbread made. So that, what did that take me? About 3 minutes to mix together. And now my pan should be hot. So I'm gonna go to the stove and pour this into my hot pan, and then we'll put it in the oven, and it will be ready. We're gonna bake it for about 20 to 23 minutes. This will actually be thinner in my cast iron skillet because it really, I think, is the right amount for an 8x8 pan. So I probably won't have to cook mine a whole 20 minutes. So give me just a minute. I'm gonna set the camera up so you can watch me as I add this on the stove. All right, that was in the pan, and I'm gonna put it in the oven, and it'll be ready in 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, my cornbread is out of the oven. It is piping hot. I don't know if you can see it well, but it's golden brown on the top. And what I like to do as soon as it's out of the oven is to spread a little butter on top. With the my butter spreader will spread it better. But just spread the top with butter. And that'll make it a little softer top, but it will give it that delicious buttery flavor. Cornbread's just absolutely one of my top 5 favorite comfort foods. If I had to give up some other food, or if I had to make a list and could only have so many foods, cornbread would be in my top 5 list. All right, let's get that out of there. I know it's too hot to take a bite of. It's piping hot. Bet you can even see the steam coming out. It's piping hot. It'll be delicious. I think I'll cook some pinto beans in my Instant Pot to go with this, and I can make a meal off of cornbread and pinto beans, or what I like even better is to put cornbread in some milk for a good snack. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I believe knowing how to make cornbread from scratch is a skill all basic bakers or cooks should know how to do. Even though we can make use of those cornbread mixes, it's really valuable to know how to make cornbread from scratch. Well, I was not going to do a taste test on screen or on the camera because it was so piping hot. But as soon as I turned the camera off, it cooled down and I took a bite, and I had to come back and show you how light and fluffy this is, and it was just delicious. And I couldn't not do this taste test and let you see how wonderful this cornbread was, because it was awesome. It's just light and fluffy. Oh my goodness, I need to quit using cornbread mixes so much and make it from scratch, because this is far superior to what I make when I'm using a mix. I'll see you next time I'm in my kitchen, on my porch, or in my garden.